Hi, I'm using a piece of great equipment today called the Braille Note APEX. Basically, it is a computer in and of itself, like what people would used to call a PDA, and it's very portable, as you can see, and it has speech and Braille output, so I can either listen to the speech or I can read. Right down here is the Braille display, and you can probably, I'll try to move my hands out of the way, you can probably see that there are Braille dots right there, and that's what I read with. Right here is the Braille keyboard, and Braille is made up of one or more combinations of 6 dots. So these, there are 6 keys right here that I use, combinations of one or more of those keys to write in Braille. Then there is a space bar right here, and an enter key,
word processor,
and a backspace key. You just heard it say word processor. That is the speech. We have the speech on right now. Typically, I do not use the speech because I prefer to read everything in Braille. I use this for all kinds of activities, from reading. I'm a recording artist, and I do voiceover work, and I also do presentations for an online business. So I use this for reading song lyrics in the studio if I need to, or reading voiceover scripts in the studio, and also for reading presentations. In addition, let's see.
Main menu.
We are at the main menu. So I'm just going to go through the menu real quick, and then I'll show you what some of these things are.
Word processor.
That is the word processor, where you can write and edit your documents.
Planner.
Planner. Now this is something I use when I need to schedule appointments and I need to know exactly what time they're going to be. I can set an alarm just like you would in a typical PDA or a typical smartphone, an iPhone or whatever. I can set an alarm.
Address list.
Address list is just what it sounds like. It's basically the address book. If you want to use that, you can.
Email.
Email. We have email and internet capabilities on the APEX, and so I can check my email and surf the web, whatever I need to do.
Internet.
Internet.
Chat.
Chat. That's if I need to chat with someone. It's kind of like an instant messenger service for, uses Google Chat.
Media center.
Media center is where I can listen to the radio, play music, that sort of thing.
Navigation.
Navigation is if you have a GPS receiver hooked up to that. You can even use GPS capabilities if you are walking around in a strange place or a strange part of town and you need to know where you are and where you're going. You can use that.
Book reader.
Book reader is my favorite feature, actually, because I can read a book in Braille that I have scanned into the computer. I have a scanner, and I scan things into the computer and translate them into Braille, and then I can read a book with that.
Scientific calculator.
Scientific calculator is just what it says, and I love that when I'm trying to figure out how much money I have left in my bank account at the end of the month.
Database manager.
Database manager, again, you can have databases for all kinds of things, from address lists to even organizing things like you might have your CDs numbered or something. So if you want to know the title and the tracks on a certain CD, maybe you could look up number 153 and know what the tracks are there.
Games.
Games are word games that we have on here, so if somebody wants to play those, we can.
Extensions. X.
Extensions is where we get into, they've got like different tutorials that that come with the APEX, and you can learn how to do certain things on the APEX. I looked, and one of them was a math tutorial type thing.
File manager.
And then the file manager is the equivalent of, in Windows, maybe like Windows Explorer. So you can use that to copy and move and files and whatever you need to do, rename files, manipulate your files basically. let's get into, let me show you what some of this stuff does and how we get into the different things. Rather than going back through the menu, I'm just going to hit the letter W to get to the word processor.
Keyword menu.
And that takes us to it says keyword menu, which is the name of our word processor. And I am going to open a document. So we're gonna, I am going to
create a document.
Where I'm moving through the menu. You move through all the menus with the space bar. And the first option was create a document.
Open a document.
The second option is open a document. So I'm going to press the enter key here.
Drive. Press enter for hard disk.
In the drive, and it says press enter for hard disk. I don't know if you can see this, but on the back of here I've got a little thumb drive plugged in to the APEX that has a lot of different types of files that I might use in a day. So we're gonna that's called the hard disk, so we're gonna stick with that.
Folder name, press enter for lyrics.
We're gonna go into lyrics right now. We're gonna pretend that I've got a session in the studio.
Document to open.
Document to open. So what I need to do is look at the list of documents, and I'm gonna do
List of
that.
all documents in alliswell.doc.
All is well.
Battle hymn of the Republic.doc.
Battle hymn of the Republic.
Did you feel the mountains tremble.doc?
Did you feel the mountains tremble?
For every mountain choir.doc. For every mountain.doc.
For every mountain. Here's a song that I
Community
sing.
options.
And then it comes up and asks me if I want to review the options. Basically, I'm going to bypass all that. It just wants to know if I want to read it in Braille, and I do.
Oh, this is a text document. Computer Braille is required. Top of document. Center line.
And then it tells me right where I am in case I needed to know what that the text at the top of the page is centered, and it tells me that it's a text document. So if I want to type in this document, if I needed to edit anything, I have to type in a certain type of Braille. And so if I were doing this in the studio, maybe I would be looking at the words and just kind of singing along. I've got so much to thank God for, so many wonderful blessings, so many open doors. You give brand new mercies along with each new day. Now we're going to go back to
Main menu.
back to the main menu, and this time I'm going to go to the planner and show you how we do that. And rather than this time, instead of going through the menus, I'm going to hit the letter P.
Key plan menu.
Key plan menu, and it takes us into that menu.
Open planner.
Open planner. And what we're going to do here is we're going to set an appointment. So I'm going to bring up a menu for the application.
Appointment menu.
And we're in the appointment menu.
Schedule an appointment.
Schedule an appointment, that's what we want. So we're going to press enter on that.
Appointment time.
It wants to know the appointment time. I'm going to put
Number sign. 7 p.m. End time or length. Press enter for 7:30 p.m. 30 minutes. Appointment title.
Okay, hopefully you could hear all that. I just set the appointment time. It asked me for the appointment length, and I set the appointment time as 7 p.m. tonight. It asked me for the appointment length, and I said 30 minutes. Now I'm at the appointment title, which I am going to call presentation.
Dot 6. P-R-E-S-E-N-T. Dot 6. N. Presentation. Location.
Presentation, and the location I'm going to put
Dot 6. H-Y-A-T-T. Hyatt. Dot 6. E-L-A-C-E.
okay, and I just typed the words Hyatt Place.
Place. Recurrence. Press enter for once.
And it wants to know recurrence, and I'm going to press enter for once.
Set an alarm on this appointment. Press enter for no.
Now, if I wanted to, this is where I could set an alarm, but I'm not going to because I know that it's tonight, and if I can't remember 7 hours from now, there's problems. So we're going to just put set an alarm on this appointment, no.
Show time as. Press enter for busy.
Show time as, and the default choice there is busy.
Mark as private. Press enter for no.
Mark as private, we're going to press enter for no.
End of list.
And then we're at the end of the list. So what I do at this point is I hit I hit a command
Exit. Schedule this appointment.
to exit at that list, and it says schedule this appointment, and then I press yes or Y for yes.
Appointment scheduled. 7 to 7:30 p.m. Presentation by and place.
And then it just read me that appointment back. It said appointment scheduled, and then it said 7 to 7:30 p.m. Presentation Hyatt Place. So, and I can look up the appointment, of course, or whatever I need to do there.
Main menu.
And what I'll just briefly show you one more thing. I could go on all day. It's a fantastic piece of equipment. I'm going to show you the address list. I'm going to hit the letter A.
List menu.
And that takes us to the address list application, which is called the key list. That takes us to that menu.
Add address.
And we're going to add an address. So I'm going to press enter.
Entry list for address list. Last name.
Okay, and here is the last name, and I'm going to put my last name, Jackson.
.6. J-A-C-K-S-O-N. Jackson. First name.
And then it wants my first name, which is Jana.
.6. J-A-N-A. Jana. Middle name.
Jana. Middle name, we're not going to put a middle name.
Title.
Title, we're going to put president.
.6. P-R-E-S-I-D-E-N-T. President. Home phone number.
And we're not going to put a home phone number right now.
Business phone number.
You could add a home phone number, a business phone number,
Cell phone number.
cell phone number,
Home email address.
home
Computer
email
braille required.
address, and it just, I'm sorry, I talked over, I didn't mean to. It just came up and informed me that computer braille is required. That's just a different type of braille than I normally would write. So it's letting me know that if I want to put an email address in here, I can, but it's computer braille is required.
Business email address.
And then
Computer braille is
we can
required.
do business email,
Home fax number.
home fax number,
Business fax number.
business fax number,
Street address.
street address,
Street address line 2.
street address line 2,
Street address line 3.
street address line 3.
City. Exit. Main menu.
So those are just a few of the things that you can do with this device. It is, as I said, just a wonderful piece of equipment.